All right, we need to have a serious talk about dopamine, but I guarantee it's not what you think. Let's just for a moment forget everything you've ever heard about it being the pleasure molecule, because today we're digging into the real science of what drives your motivation and, more importantly, how you can get your focus back in a world that feels like it's designed to steal it from you.
So does this sound familiar? You sit down, you're ready to get some real work done, but within minutes, you're reaching for your phone. You're checking notifications, you're scrolling through feeds. You want to concentrate, but it just feels like this constant uphill battle. Well, I'm here to tell you that is not a personal failure. It's a neurochemical one. And this is the single biggest misunderstanding we have to clear up. The popular idea is that dopamine is pleasure. You get a reward, you get a hit of dopamine, you feel good. But the science tells a completely different story. Dopamine is what gets you to go after the reward in the first place. It's the molecule of motivation. It's the molecule of wanting.
So, let's really break this myth down piece by piece. Because once you understand this one single distinction, it's going to change everything you think you know about how to manage your own attention.
You know, the easiest way to think about it is with this phrase. It's the chase, not the catch. Your dopamine doesn't really surge when you get the thing you want. It surges in anticipation of getting it. It's the neurological gas in the tank for the hunt. That craving, that desire, that push to keep going, that's dopamine. And this isn't just some vague feeling, you know? Scientists actually have a term for it, reward vigor. It's the measurable, quantifiable energy and effort you are willing to put in to achieve a goal. And what's the primary driver of that vigor? Yeah, you guessed it. And look, this isn't just a cool theory. A huge meta-analysis, that's a study of many other studies, actually quantified it. They found an effect size of 0.32. Now, what that number means, in plain English, is that across all the available research, there is a clear, consistent, and pretty significant link between your dopamine levels and how much effort you're willing to put in. It's basically scientific proof that dopamine is the chemical kicking you into action.
Okay, so if dopamine is what drives motivation, why do so many of us feel so unmotivated so much of the time? Well, the answer lies in understanding the two different faces of dopamine, the spikes and the all-important baseline.
So first up, you've got phasic dopamine. The best way to think of these are as the spikes. They're these quick, really intense bursts that happen when something unexpected and potentially rewarding happens. You know the feeling. A text message buzzes, you get a like on a photo, you grab a sugary snack. Our modern world is basically an endless machine built to generate these little phasic spikes.
But on the flip side, you have tonic dopamine. This is your baseline. Think of it as the slow, steady, background level of dopamine that's always there. This baseline level determines your overall mood, your general level of motivation, and, crucially, your ability to stay focused on things that don't give you an immediate reward. This baseline, this is the foundation for deep work and long-term goals. And right here, this is the dopamine trap that almost all of us fall into. When your life is filled with constant, cheap, high phasic spikes, from your phone, from junk food, from endless novelty, it actually lowers your tonic baseline. Your brain adapts to this constant overstimulation, and pretty soon, normal everyday activities start to feel boring and unrewarding, and that makes real focus feel almost impossible. So, why on earth would our brains do this? Well, it's not a flaw, it's actually a feature. Your brain is just trying to protect itself. Let's dive into the science of how it adapts.
I mean, just imagine you walk into a room where music is blasting at full volume. At first, it's overwhelming. But after a while, you'd start to tune it out, right? It wouldn't seem so loud anymore. Your brain does the exact same thing with dopamine. When it's constantly being flooded with these intense spikes, it kicks off a defensive process called neuroadaptation. So here's how that works step by step. Step 1, you're hit with constant, intense phasic spikes. Step 2, your brain's reward pathways get totally overwhelmed. So for step 3, it starts to protect itself by literally removing some of the docking stations for dopamine. These are called D2 receptors. This process is called downregulation. And the result in step 4 is that you just become less sensitive to dopamine's effects and your overall baseline motivation totally plummets.
Okay, I know that might sound kind of bleak, but this is the most important part of the story because this is where everything turns around. This is not a permanent condition. You can absolutely fight back and you can rebuild your dopamine system.
Seriously. This is the good news. Your brain adapted to a high-stimulation world by becoming less sensitive, sure. But guess what? It can also adapt in the other direction. You can actively resensitize your dopamine pathways, raising that baseline back up and restoring your natural ability to focus.
And we have some incredible data on exactly how to do this. For example, studies have shown that cold water exposure, like an ice bath, can cause a massive 250% increase in baseline dopamine. And here's the key part. That increase is sustained for hours afterward. Unlike the sharp spike and then crash you get from sugar, this is a healthy, long-lasting boost to your tonic level.
And what about those receptors, the ones your brain removed? This is just incredible. Research found that a structured exercise program can physically rebuild the dopamine system. It led to an average increase in the availability of those D2/D3 receptors by almost 14%. Think about that. You can literally rebuild your brain's capacity for motivation. And the toolbox just keeps going. You can support your system with the right building blocks, like the amino acid L-tyrosine. You can change your environment by intentionally adding what's called friction, basically making those cheap dopamine hits a little harder to get to. And you can support your brain's natural nightly repair processes through things like intermittent fasting and, this is a big one, prioritizing high-quality sleep. Every single one of these helps rebuild a healthier baseline.
So, all of this brings us to a much better way of thinking about this whole thing. You've probably heard of a dopamine detox. And look, that idea gets it about half right, but it's missing the most important part of the equation.
See, the real goal here isn't just dopamine fasting, simply trying to avoid it. Frankly, that's impossible, and you wouldn't want to anyway. The real strategic goal is dopamine resensitization. It's about actively rebuilding your system so that you can once again get motivation and real enjoyment from healthy, sustainable things. And just to add one final crucial layer here, focus isn't just about dopamine's go signal. It has to be balanced by another neurotransmitter, serotonin, which kind of acts like the stop or wait signal. And as you can see from the data, serotonin's role in helping us delay gratification, to resist the urge for that immediate reward for a bigger one later, is just as powerful, if not more so. Real, unbreakable focus is a delicate dance between the two.
And that really just sums it all up, doesn't it? If you've been struggling with focus, it's time to stop blaming your own lack of willpower. You are fighting a chemical war against an environment that is expertly designed to hijack your brain. The secret isn't more discipline, it's better chemistry.
So the question is no longer, why can't I focus? The real question, now that you know the rules of the game, is how will I choose to manage my own motivation?